What's the fastest you've ever made a feature film?
So the fastest I've ever shot a feature film is in a day. I've made one, two, three. I did three 1 day features and one 2 day feature. So I was working for a company. I was directing movies for them, and I did about 10 or 11 projects for this company, and their budgets were typically between like 65,000 down to as low as 30, 25 or 30. And we would typically shoot these in like 5 to 8 days. So they had a filmmaker friend that was doing these like filmed plays in Atlanta, like basically setting up 3 cameras and just shooting the plays, and then they would kind of release it as a feature. And I was talking to him one day, and we were talking about that thing, and I'm looking at it, and I'm an editor, and I was sitting here thinking about it, and I was like, God, if we had the sets, real sets, like I could do this and make it like a real movie, like not like a filmed play, like do it with coverage. I could make this work. And so he was like, and he started thinking about it. And so like their big thing was they would get like, kind of a fallen like B actor. They would put him in the movie, just like those like Bruce Willis things where he's in the movie for like 5 minutes and it's like starring Bruce Willis. So like they were doing that kind of thing. But they were like, gosh, though, if we did this in like 1 day, we can just meet this person's day rate and they can be in the entire movie. They could really legitimately star in it, and we can get a few of them. So they're like, yeah, we're going to cast like this person, this person, this person. We're going to do it in a day. So I would basically, we would run these things. We would do them on sound stages, so like sets. And there would need to be like all the company moves would need to be within that sound stage. So, like cafe, they have a cafe, they have a bar, they have an apartment. Okay, it's got to be in a cafe, a bar, an apartment. So then, we would set up the 3 cameras, and, I would do, kind of a basic wide shot. I do a, like a maybe like a two over here, and maybe three people over on here. One piece of cover, 3 pieces of coverage, run the scene. So, and then we do the scene once or twice, till we get all the way through it, and then move the cameras and like start punching in on people, and do this on average 2 times per scene. So you'd have 6 pieces of coverage for every scene, sometimes more depending on how short or long the scene was. And like on that second one, I'd have good operators, and like they would be fishing close-ups, and then in between takes they'd be popping inserts. And we did it. We shot like 85 pages in a day, and just knocked them out. And there was 1 month with that company where I shot 4 movies, like in a month. We did a 5 day, 2 1 days, and a 2 day, and just bam. And then I'd have 3 or 4 weeks to edit them.
So does the talent know that they're getting their day rate, but then they're like in every scene? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah. Because
okay.
on indie films, it's almost all about all the negotiations with talent are usually based upon time on set. So like now I was not privy to those negotiations, so maybe there were some bumps because they were all the way through it. I don't know. I wasn't a producer, but I would assume though that they were pretty much getting their day rates.
How is that on the actor, especially for these, shooting a feature in one day?
So it can be very hard on the actors and the director and the crew. It takes a very, and this isn't just 1 day features either. When you're making a extremely like low budget short shoot movie, whether it's 1 day or 5 days or 10 days, there's specific types of actors that can deal with that kind of situation, and there's some that can't. And it's not necessarily a matter of talent or ability. Some just can't work under those circumstances. So it wasn't one of the 1 days, but it was a 5 day feature we were working on. And one of the actors was a name actor, and they could not handle the pace. And nothing like it was a very good, talented, experienced actor, but they kind of broke down halfway through the first day and took me aside and just tears streaming, I can't can't do this. I can't get to where you need me to go. Like they just couldn't do it. So they ended up having to, find someone else to do that part. And that's the only time that ever happened to me. But it's a very specific, like, type of actor can do that. So like when I'm casting a movie, one of a low budget, quick schedule movie, like I look at their experience. Have they shot other movies like this? Do they understand what this set is going to be like? Do they understand that this is going to be like bam, 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 bam? That you're only going to get, even on the 5-day features, you're going to get an average of 3 takes, 2.5 maybe. It's and some actors can't get there in 3 takes. Like they need more. They need a longer rehearsal period, or like we even on the 1 days we do camera rehearsals, but they're quick. So it's not like long blocking rehearsal or long camera rehearsal. And if you're in the same space, sometimes the camera rehearsals start getting 86ed, and you're just rolling through it, and they have to do it. So it's there's some people that thrive on that. Like I used to describe shooting features really fast as kind of like shot clock pool. It's like you don't really have time to like line up and agonize over the shot. You just take it. You just take it. And I personally like I thrive off of that. Like I like that. I like the challenge. I wouldn't shoot a 1-day feature again, like ever. I did them. I'm happy I did it, but I wouldn't recommend it. They're not the best movies that I ever made, but they're better than you would think. But anyway, I do like the challenge of it.
And in a situation like that, is there a place for the main actors to go to collect themselves, or they're all in one space? Wardrobes here, everybody's just out in the open together?
Yeah, no. It's like these would typically be like regular sound stages. So, there'd be green rooms and holding, and, and I have been on sets where, like you're on a practical set and there basically is no holding. I mean, I did a talking dog movie once, and, we had some name talent, and, they're like, okay, we have to have this room set aside for them, because I was, in their rider or whatever. But I forget what happened, but they like didn't have the room, and the person was like totally cool. But here was this like person that you'd seen in all of these movies like growing up, and they're sitting there like on the floor
Oh,
in a
no.
corner between takes, but they're totally down. And I think that even like name actors, when they're working on something like that, they know what they're getting into, or they should. And honestly, I think like with that, as long as you are communicative and you don't like promise something that it's not, and you're really upfront about, hey, this is what this is, and like this is how it's going to work, and we're going to do our best to make you comfortable, but this is the situation, most of them will roll with it. And if you get a little pushback or like hesitation, go to somebody else.
Sure. And sometimes they might be fine, but an extra or another smaller actor may want to go and talk to them.
Yeah.
And during downtime, and that's kind of their time to replenish, and then they don't really.
Totally.
They're always on, So I think that could be a problem.
And I found like even in those cases, like those practical locations, we still try to find, like, even if it's not their official like room, we try to find space to where they can be, and it doesn't have to be name actors even. Like the movie I'm getting ready to do now, we have a lead actor and he's very good, and like he needs
Yeah.
he said he needs like 2 minutes before each like new setup, that like he needs to be alone and not messed with, and that's totally a valid process.
Sure.
It's just sometimes on independent, like really, really indie films, you have to make some concessions, and sometimes like you can't cast that actor, it not like in this case, I'm able to make it work, but on another movie, maybe I wouldn't, and I would look for someone. That's why whenever I'm casting too, like in auditions, I always ask people like, how do you like to be directed? Like, how do you like to work? And you can start getting an idea like, hey, are we going to jive? Is this person going to be able to handle the rigors of, you know, a $20,000, you know, 5-day shoot?